what's up, everyone? Once again, this is Nate. And check this out. If you have not saw part one of this man of God's amazing story about his early life, and where God has brought him from, man, you got to go back and see part one. But we're about to come at you with part two, and let him finish up telling this phenomenal, this amazing life story that he wants to share with everyone. Now, I do ask this. I ask that you hit that share button, hit that like button, because the thing about it, this dude's story needs to get out to a lot of people, especially some young people, some youngsters, our youth who may be in these same predicaments as we speak right now. But like I say, go back, check out part one on YouTube, then check out part two because we're coming at you right now. What would you speak to the parents, man, the adults, about what they're not doing and what they should be doing? I mean, because you address the kids so eloquently and specifically. What about the adults who are supposed to be, overseeing them?
Well, I say you can't compromise. You gotta pay attention to your child. You got to hear them even when you are not, when they are not even speaking. You know what I'm saying? You got to have that type of listening heart to understand when they crying out, when they want attention, and all the different things that a child actually yearn for. One thing that I do know that a child wants, and I don't think no child any different, they want to make their parents proud. So you got to set them up in a position that they feel the need to want to make you proud. And you got to let them know that I'm proud of you. It's so much, like I say, when I was young, I was crying out and nobody paid no attention to me. I was real quiet and I was crying out inside and didn't know how to release it, didn't know how to seek the help I need or the attention that I wanted. I didn't necessarily want no negative attention. I just didn't understand where I fit in at until I found the wrong crowd and they accepted me. I was at the age of 11 and 12 years old. I was toting real guns. At the age of 13, I found myself in Eckerd's drugstore trying to steal a cap gun.
Wow.
Like I said, I wanted a childhood, but it just wasn't afforded to me. Being in a position, in the circumstances like I was in with, my mom on drugs and, it's a lot of things, man. We didn't live in and out of motels, lights always out, nothing to eat. I understand all of that. And I know it's a lot of kids that going through the same thing right now today. But parents, my thing with you is to say that make a better situation for your child. Allow your child to explore at an early age. Get them involved in not just football and basketball. Get them in combative sports. Get them involved in instruments. Get them involved in art. Get them involved in all these different things that could help their mind develop into a full-blown a way of thinking and seeing things, a life. Allow them to explore their talents. And you'll be amazed on what you find out that your kid like. Because a lot of times we want to push the kids to the sports that we all known for, football and basketball. But there's so much more that you can actually allow your child to explore. But like I say, pay attention to your child. Hear him when he's not speaking, or she when she's not speaking. Learn them, understand them, listen. Because a lot of times, we pacify them with a lot of different things like phones, internet, video games, and all the lights. And that's not going to get where we really trying to go at. When you really look up and you say, okay, what do I want my child to be at? First of all, you got to understand where your child want to be at. So y'all got to have that bridging the gap conversations to be able to realize what this child is really trying to things, that could be done. But I tell y'all, pay attention. Pay attention. And if your child, moms, If your child got a father, don't deny them. And I understand some of the fathers, you know what I'm saying, in some predicaments that might not be conducive to allowing the child to grow. But if it is, if they are, give them a chance. Actually, give them a chance to be a father, because I think every child, especially a boy, needs his father. Need him. Definitely need him. So
Man,
that's one of the things.
you said something um, about listening to your child um, when they're not saying anything. And man, that is so very important, nonverbals. Because first of all, we already know, and we probably did the same thing as youth. Sometimes it's hard to talk to an adult anyway. And sometimes, especially your parents, it's hard to talk with. That's why it goes back to the adult. It goes back to the parents to recognize those nonverbals that's being displayed. The things that check out the things they're not saying. Sometimes the things they're not doing or the things that they are doing. It's not always about because they could. We already know kids can lie because that's what we got started at and did it very well. And I say that because just dealing with a lot of young people in my lifespan, being able to be privileged to be a dean at a school and also worked at a mentally disturbed facility. Well, kids who are mentally disturbed, and hearing some of their stories, and also be involved in youth department at church. Being ex-military, just certain churches I would end up at it, being stationed at, being involved with the youth department, and just hearing the stories and different things that are said, watching their actions, um, and sometimes that's how they feel like they have to signal and have to um, make certain gestures. And if we as adults, if we really think about it, we still do that in relationships. We may not tell our significant other this, that, or that, but we try to display a way of showing them that, okay, this is what I need from you without verbalizing it. Kids do the same thing and they do it on a higher level. But the fact of the matter with children, with kids, number one, they're adolescents anyway. They're young, but they may be in danger and they're not voicing it. It's up
Right.
to us to pick that up. They may be getting bullied. They may having issues. They may know something about something that if we're not probing, if we're not, and not necessarily just trying to be bully in our own children and trying to force it out of them, but conversation. I was just reflecting that when my older kids were young, sometimes I just go sit in the room and on the floor and just have conversation, just let them talk, and I find out a
Good
lot
stuff.
by just doing that.
Right.
Just listening. Um, but I think you're right about that. We're not paying a lot of attention to our kids.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
My question is to all the parents. Um, do you want to give your kids all you got, or you want to give them all you could give? And I asked that question based on the fact of you got to educate yourself. You got to put yourself in a position to win. And we talk about the kids' emotions and processing their feelings and how they deal with things. But we also got to challenge that child inside that grown man or woman. You know what I'm saying? That you got to get in a position, in a place where you are stable enough to be able to make those decisions on what it takes to actually reach your child. So if you want to give them all you could give, then guess what? You got to make moves. You got to move. You got to do what it takes. Like I say, education, not just in the, you much in the mental health department, the emotional department, all these different departments that could help us build up to be a better man, a better woman. We got to check ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And once we get in, I'm not calling nobody out, but I'm just giving you an idea on ways that you could give your kid all you could give, opposed to giving all you got. Because sometimes we ain't got enough to actually reach what we need to reach and who we need to reach. So that's my question.
You know, man, unlike adults, um, young people don't require a whole lot. I was when I was talking to my wife just last night, and she's she's part of the youth department at our present church, and I guess it was some question that was brought up about what do you want in if you can have it right now, and she was expecting them to say like a video games or maybe even a car. These were teenagers and stuff. Um, but a lot of their answers were very simplistic and very some of it was educational things, and she was in essence she was pleasantly surprised that it wasn't this big collage of material things. And I think that's where I think you hit the head on the nail, um, or the nail on the head when you made that comment, because I think we overreact because we don't know our kids. We
Mm.
don't know what they're looking for. When you talked about football or basketball or whatever, sometimes we're trying to live our lives through our children, and because we like doing that, we assume that they do too. But when we push that one that's doing that might be a doctor. Why he might be athletically inclined, but the brain may be just astronomical that he is so, or he or she is so engulfed in their educational development that it's beyond sports. And not saying that you can't do that. That sports might be the thing to get you the scholarship to get in there. But then again, it might be academics.
Right.
And we're not, it goes back to what you said before, man, that the nonverbals, they're just trying to find out what's going on with our kids. So let me ask this, let me in turn ask this question. If you had a last comment for our youth, because we're trying to reach them, because some of these youth may not have the parents or the adults in their lives, and they don't have that to go to. And if you had to just from the depths of your heart, mind, just speak to these younger male and females that really want to do right and want to do right in a spiritual way. Because believe it or not, some of them are looking for some type of change. They're searching for something, and we don't know if God is not tugging at their hearts and trying to cultivate them to bring them into the fold. And it's going to take us one planet, one water. Of course, we know God gives an increase. But if you had a chance to plant or to water something into these young people, what would you say?
I definitely say the ones who's on the path that's trying to do right, keep trying. Don't give up. Don't allow anything to influence you negatively. If they're not positive, not for you. And the ones who don't understand their position, that may be in the loop of going left, straighten up. Realize, man, that it's real out here, man. I mean, we dying every day. I mean, death don't got no age. Prison don't got no age. And me as a 14-year-old to go in and do 32 years of my life in prison, and now just coming out and the things that I done witnessed in there, and the people I done seen, I done been in there with, I had a life sentence. By the grace of God, it gave off me. But I know a lot of people say, you always go back to court. That's not true. The streets are glorifying the wrong things and thinking that it's okay to shoot another brother or shoot someone, and that's some street creds and that's some gangster stuff that gonna send you down the road that, man, you ain't gonna truly understand at all. It's not cracked up it's not what it's cracked up to be. Everybody try to glorify all the negativity, and it's not that. Bro, when you sitting in the chain gang and you getting told what to do, when to do it, and you around a whole bunch of more hard-headed dudes you'll realize that, hey, boy, it ain't what I thought it was. And just think about it. Who in their right mind would want to be in a place where they always told what to do when they do? No freedom. Ain't no more going in your own refrigerator. It ain't no more walking down the street. It ain't no more going in and out of different rooms in your home. All that's I mean, man, listen, man, many nights I done cried. I'm talking about boo who cried, being in my situation, not having nobody, man. When you go on the phone and you call home and nobody answer, ain't nobody putting no money on the phone, nobody sending your money, no books, ain't no canteen and all that, and you got to learn how to fend to yourself. Some people don't make it, man. That's a mental traumatic experience in itself. And I'm telling you that aspect of it. But you ain't even got to go through that. If you start to understand the same things that a lot of people's out there chasing, doing the wrong things, you could get that same thing doing the right thing by working. I know as a kid, sometimes you might not be able to work, but you just got to wait your turn. And that's why it's stages. And it's, you know, as a kid, as an adult, while you're a kid, be a kid. Seek out help. If you don't have the right resources to help you, seek out. Be patient. But pray to God. Put God in the equation to the fullest. And I promise you this. I always knew that I had a call in my life, and I always knew God that was in my life. I just didn't understand how to connect the dots with it. Seek out spiritual advisors and people that can help you actually grow and see this thing. You ain't alone. That's why we are the Christian village. And it's necessary to actually be able to go to the village and allow the village to help you to grow. But don't allow yourself to be influenced negatively by anything that could get you in a situation that you don't want to be in. You might not truly understand the situation, but they are out there. And there's some dying situations that you can find yourself in if you don't straighten up and realize. But I truly say this, education is the key. If you don't do anything else, tap into your education. You responsible. At the end of the day, your parents had you, but you are responsible. And if you don't realize how responsible you is, when you find yourself in trouble and they adjudicate you, 14 years old, and you get adjudicated as an adult, your parents ain't got no more say so in your life. You're a ward of the system now. That's who you belong to. It's almost like being in slavery, just a modern day. So be mindful what you allow yourself to get into. Be strong, be courageous, and be enduring. You know what I'm saying? Put up with what you need to put up with until you can get where you need to be. But you got to think for yourself. Don't allow nobody else to influence you. So stay focused.
Hey man, that was so very well said. And just one more last thing for you, and let me start off with a comment. You know, so many times we hear the stereotypical um, statements that okay, yeah, another brother, another person who has gone to prison, found Jesus, and how long will that last? But that being said, just a short time that just the time that I have known you, um, I can just sense the love of Christ uh, deeply embedded in your heart, and it pours out from your soul. But just give them a brief resume of how that came to be. Just your accomplishments, whether it's the educational or the spiritual, and some of the things that I know that you've done when you were in there, and that you're trying to accomplish on the outside. Whatever you feel comfortable with saying, just give me a quick resume concerning you.
Okay, I could honestly say this. Like when I first got incarcerated, I was in the county jail, and I had a encounter with God. You know, in my day of visitation, when He showed up in my life and let Andre know that I'm with you. You know, I tapped in. I gave my life to Him. I probably around about 15, but I didn't understand what I was doing. I didn't understand what was going on. But I always knew that I had a spiritual calling on my life. And as time go, it didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen over the years. It took some years. And by the time I got into this place where God really tapped me on my shoulder and said, hey, brother, I'm finna let you about this place. I need you to tighten up. Right before then, you know, right before I actually got that break where the juvenile case came out and took the life sentence off me, God had started dealing with me. And when I tell you, like almost daily, man, I was crying. I was crying, boohoo crying. But I had this peace over me that passes understanding that I didn't truly understand that, but I knew that it was the power of God and the Holy Spirit that were dealing with me. And like I say, it. I remember coming back from a service, and I was up under this tree, and I asked God, I said, why can't I feel what I felt when I first gave my life over to you? And it seemed like from that moment, the Holy Spirit was chasing me. And that's when I really straightened up around about 2010. And I really started walking. I started getting myself together. Though time, it still was some bumps and some bruises. But at the same time, this is when I told myself I wasn't going backwards. And from that point on, I started tapping into going to programs. I started teaching programs. I even much wrote a program or two. I put together a program, me and one brother put the program together. And then I came back and put my own program together. I started writing plays. I started motivation to speak. Like I said, I started getting involved in Toastmaster International. I started doing a lot of different things that educated me, helped me build me up to the man I am today. And I wouldn't trade none of it. Do I have any regrets? You know, a lot of people say don't have them. I do have them. But it's not the regret part that you can't have. It's the how you process it and how you look at it. You feel? Like I said, I learned from my regrets. I'm not going to allow my regrets to hold me down. You know what I'm saying? Because it's wordplay. It's just an understanding of feeling that you could feel without allowing it to overtake you. But at the same time, like moving forward, brother, man, it's just been a blessing, man. I was given the opportunity at Gadsden Reentry Center to actually teach a program that I created called Breathe, which the acronym stands for Best Remember Everything, Always Think Healthy, Evolve. And in that program, you know, we dealt with like some sessions that we actually had interaction with different men, and man, it was powerful. It was powerful, and the biggest thing is, man, just like having realistic conversation, real topics that men need to talk about, man, because we deal with mental health daily, and we're challenging. We don't know how to open up and discuss the things that we are dealing with, and sometimes all it takes for somebody else to say, "I'm going through that." Oh man, I'm going through that too, and spark something, and you get your answers for some of the things that we are dealing with. So we need to be healed. Now, remember, I'm talking about men right now.
Right.
So if men is in this position, where do you think our kids at? See, that's the first program that me and the brother had created called Mentors to Men. And that's what it was about. It was about men mentoring the men. So the men could be prepared and take on that same responsibility to save our men, to save our kids in that child. You feel me?
Yes, sir.
And that's the thing, brother. Like now, I'm just connecting dots. I'm connecting dots. You know, I got people been asking me to go talk to kids over here and do this, and I am. Like I said, I'm connecting dots right now, and I'm wide open. You know, like wherever God direct me and take me at, you know, because He got to ordain my steps, and He's like yours and anybody else's on. And a lot of times we do things, you know what I'm saying, without the full approval of the Holy Spirit. And
Right.
we just might want to say we're doing it, but we got to make sure that they line up to the will of God, and that's the biggest thing. Let it be in the will, you know. So I mean, I'm thankful to be home. This is not no show for me, you know what I'm saying. I could sit back and just enjoy my life, but when you got a call on your life, you can't just sit back. And that's why I'm right here today. You know what I'm saying? I know God didn't just let me out to come out here and just, oh boy, you out here, man. You doing good. No, it's a call, man. It's like I say, it's a mission. It's things that need to be done and got to be done. Because like you say, go back to that Christian village. And if we're gonna do it, we got to be wise how we do it.
Sure.
And we can't be in competition about this your program, that's my program. We got to have a big umbrella. You feel me? Okay, I could help you if we network wide enough, then we could catch a wide net of fish. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's all about, man. Just as brothers, man, being lined up and realize that we're not in competition. Only thing we're in, we into saving souls, and that's what it's all about. And if you help a brother in anything with anything, that should be your intention to save his soul, at least preserve it to the pastor or somebody else come along and actually drop the word of God on him.
That's it, man. And very well said. And that's it, bro. This is kingdom work. And as I've been saying, and I've been hearing a lot of different other ministers, preachers, men of God, men and women of God saying the same thing. Our time is getting really short here on earth, because I do believe that the Lord um, is coming back soon. And I know, we hear people say that. We've been hearing this, all the time. But hey, every day that we live is a day closer that he's coming back. But just take a look at the signs of time and just seeing the things going on. So kingdom work is very vital, especially for our young people. Hey, look, man, Andre, man, I appreciate you coming on, having this conversation. You do know that this will not be the last time that you're on here, right? So
Hey,
just say yes. Okay, we good there. But man, we appreciate those are words of wisdom that were founded on experience, and it's not something that he read or he's seen in some movie or in a book or someone told him. It's something that is experienced. And if you can't tell, it's just the spirit of the Lord just is blessing him all over the place. And yeah, I watch out for him. I really believe within the depths of my heart and soul that you're going to hear and see more of this young man. Hey, and I thank you once again for taking time out to speak to me and speak to these young people, and these adults as well. And just want to thank the viewers. And if anyone wants to submit a question, or you have a question, or want to get in touch, our email address is right there. Even if it's directed at Andre, I have no problem with forwarding that email to him and letting him respond as he sees fits. Because we're here to help. I'll filter it. It'll come to me first before getting it to him or whoever else is on the show. And but we're trying to help. This is a kingdom thing. Again, don't forget a lot of things he was saying is dealing with my book right here, Irregular Family Bond, and it deals with these 5 different young people of different races and ethnicities that have home lives that are toxic, that are tragic, that are horrible. And I haven't even gotten the book to Andre yet, but his story, the book was already published before I actually met him. But his story, one of his stories is actually a couple of the characters that's in the book. So this thing is real that our young people go through. And I'll say this: the last thing is that Andre is a blessing, a man of God that's wanting to serve him. Everyone who has been through what he's been through don't have that same Christian success story. And I know he'll be the first to tell you there's some that are not with us right now that he knew before that may have been following the same road. So, but once again, hey, thank you for showing up, listening to us, and we'll be back for more and more segments of It Takes a Christian Village, because we're trying to reach these kids and we're trying to relate. See, I told you. Hey, before I get into any dialogue and going any further, this story needs to get out to some people. So hit that subscribe, hit that share, hit that like button so it can get out there. You just heard his story, man. Some young people need to hear this. And once again, if you haven't seen part 1 yet, go back and look at part 1. If you want to come back and check out part 2 again, do that. But I tell you this man of God got some things that God has laid on his heart, and I can just hear it in his voice. So we're going to be coming back to him and seeing what's going on with him. There's some things he wants to do in the community, some kingdom building work, which is so commendable. And we just thank God for men like this who have turned their lives around and now want to turn someone else's lives around. So again, hey, appreciate you listening to us on this podcast. And again, we're going to be back with his story and many, many more. So check us out.